Hi, this is Erin from Blossy Bee. Welcome to my channel. The plan for this video is to create some beautiful coasters in an autumn theme. And the video is part of the MiniScenes GB and Crafty YouTubers United Autumn collaboration. But more about that throughout the video. Let's have a think first of all about the theme. Autumn. Gorgeous time of the year. Just the word itself conjures up images of gorgeous pumpkins and beautiful sunflowers and burnt orange leaves. And the imagery that you have available to you is amazing. Just look at what I could have chosen. Absolutely stunning. I could have got anything I wanted in an autumn theme, even raccoons or beautiful Highland cows. Oh, aren't they cute? But the thing is, my autumn is in March, April and May, and my autumn is different. You might be watching this from this part of the world or even this part of the world, but I'm all the way down here in the southern hemisphere. I live in Tasmania, which is a tiny little island down the bottom of Australia. In fact, here it is, my beautiful island state. And on the subject of Tasmania, I'd like to acknowledge the original owners of the land where I live, the Tasmanian Aboriginal community, as the continuing custodians of Lutruwita, Tasmania. The Palawa people belong to the oldest continuing culture in the world. They have cared and protected country for tens of thousands of years. I would also like to pay my respects to Palawa elders, past, present and emerging. So in Tasmania, we do have those beautiful autumn scenes like you have in other parts of the world. When Tasmania was first colonised by the British in 1803, they found our eucalypt trees pretty difficult to chop down. They're a very hard wood and they missed the soft pines and other trees from their native country. So, of course, they brought with them their trees and planted them everywhere. And so we do have them, but none of them belong here. None of them except one little tree. And that one little tree is a living fossil, and it represents one of the oldest lineages of flowering plants in the world. They've found fossilised evidence of this particular tree backdating 35 million years. Pretty exciting. It's the nothofagus gunnii. This little tree is so significant that in our autumn, people travel from all over the world, all around Australia and Tasmania, to see the turning of the fagus. This is a great little article here which I'll link in the description box, saying it's an essential pilgrimage in Tasmania, a seasonal phenomenon that the locals call the turning of the fagus. It goes on to read that in late April and May, Tasmania's only winter deciduous native tree turns on its autumn show, triggering a pilgrimage to see entire hillsides ablaze in shades of rust, orange and gold. The fagus hasn't quite achieved the renown of other endemic Tasmanian plants such as the Huon pine, yet this prehistoric survivor of the Gondwana era is remarkable. It goes by a few names: fagus, nothofagus gunnii, deciduous beech and tanglefoot, for its low twisted branches growing in thickets that can trip bushwalkers. It's one of only a handful of native deciduous species in Australia. So as much as I love crafting, and I do love crafting, I love where I live. I'm very proud to live in Tasmania, and I thought this was an amazing opportunity to show you my autumn, our autumn here. So I had a really amazing idea. I wanted to use an image of the Fagus plant. So it has the most gorgeous crinkle cut leaves, and as it changes, it goes from a green through to those beautiful burnt orange, russety, yellowy colours. And I searched and searched. As you can see, there are so many beautiful images available. But I wanted to be very respectful of copyright, and I wanted to also find the perfect image for my project. And I stumbled across one. Look at this. When this popped up in my Google image search, I fell in love. The trouble is, it is a bumper sticker. So I reached out and I contacted the company, Keep Tassie Wild. I asked them if I could have permission to use their image in an upcoming project, and I also asked, cheekily, if I could actually get a high-res digital copy of the file, and they said yes. Look at what they sent me. It's perfect. So, shout out to Keep Tassie Wild. It's a small family-owned business in Hobart, and they are really passionate about the wilderness areas in Tasmania. And it'd be great if you wanted to give them a quick look. They have beautiful designs you can buy, and 50% of their profits go towards local environmental organisations. I'm very grateful for their support for this project. Thank you. I was so excited to get working with this file. I imported it into Microsoft Publisher, and I resized it, copied, pasted as many times as I needed to come up with a really lovely pattern. And as I was going to be cutting it out with the Fiskars circle cutter, I made sure I had a circle guideline that was approximately 1 centimetre wider than the 10 centimetre diameter either side of the coasters. So it did help greatly, particularly as I'd made a little central focus of the smaller leaves. I'm just so happy with them, and I'm just so grateful to Keep Tassie Wild for allowing me to use this beautiful image. It really does represent that spectacular turning of the Fagus in autumn in Tasmania. So this is the second time that I've been able to use my Fiskars circle tool, and I am loving it. I think I mentioned in the previous video, I do find a little bit tricky with my hands because of my osteoarthritis. But if it doesn't cut out all the way, I've found that you can just ease it out and then trim if necessary. But after a while, I got really good at it, which I'm happy to say. So I went ahead and I cut out all of the circles that I needed, and I'm going to then protect the paper with a covering, because they're going to go into resin, and we don't want to risk any of the resin getting into that paper. It will discolour the paper and potentially weaken it as well, and just not something you want. I just get so happy while I'm seeing these circles, these beautiful circles of gorgeous Fagus. I feel very lucky to have been able to participate in this wonderful collaboration. And whilst on the topic of the collaboration, thank you so much to Tracy from MiniScenes GB for organising this collaboration in conjunction with Crafty YouTubers United. They are the most amazing group of people that I am very proud to be part of, and they are so supportive and so caring and so jolly clever. So I'm going to put the link to the entire playlist in the description box below. And I strongly recommend you snuggle up on the couch, turn it on, and sit back for hours and hours of amazing crafting from people all around the world. Different styles, different formats, all sorts of mixed media. It's so exciting. I can't wait to see them myself. So here I am using the ModPodge Gloss, and I'm applying a fairly liberal coating to the top of each of these. I'm just using a fairly soft brush, and I'm actually working on a plastic pocket sheet protector, which I've cut down the sides and bottom to open up completely. I found that's just a really easy way to work with these and also to protect my surfaces. Plus, you can clean them at the end and just reuse them. I'm just making sure, extra sure actually, that I'm getting the edges. That is so critical, as I just mentioned. So just also making sure that I don't have brush strokes that are too, obvious. So after they dried, which was not long at all, I turned them over, and I'm going to go ahead and protect the backs. And I've noticed as I'm doing this that the Mod Podge, it does dry so quickly, but the front side already feels quite plasticky. It just doesn't feel like paper anymore. And so that makes me feel quite confident that they are going to survive the resin process. Earlier on, I showed you a few images of autumn that I could have downloaded from Creative Fabrica. In fact, I did download the Highland cows, and I did start a project. But then I got the email from Keep Tassie Wild saying I could use their image, so I quickly switched lanes. But I did want to just give a shout out to Creative Fabrica because they do have amazing images, and I'm very grateful that I could use them. So this is the last coat on the top now. So after the back drying, I'm just going ahead and putting the second and last coat on. Again, very conscious of the edges, just making sure that I get all of them and that they are as flat as possible as well. Sometimes the paper will curl up when you're working with Mod Podge and coating them, but it's a bit easier when you get to the next step to have them quite flat. Now, speaking of the next step, I am so sad when I came to edit this footage together to put in for this collaboration. I was missing a whole chunk of video, which I know I took because I reviewed it, but I've got no idea what I've done. It's just crazy. So what you're going to miss out on seeing is me using the beautiful River Art resin, which is an Australian 2-to-1 epoxy resin. It is really a world-class crystal clear resin. I added in some Just Resin Saffron pigment, and I've used that before, and you know I love it. It has the most glorious orange colour, which you'll see shortly. And so I just mixed that in, and I poured it around about halfway, and here they are cured. I'm just so sad you didn't get to see me doing the pouring, but there you go. Look how gorgeous they are. I chose this saffron colour because I felt it really matched that vibrancy of the image, and it really evoked that gorgeous golden orangey burnt colour for autumn. So I'm using Julie Cutz's Mould from Pouring Your Heart Out. This is her 10 centimetre or small 4-coaster mould with a bonus little heart mould in the middle. And I'm loving this mould. It's the most expensive mould I've ever bought, but it is just so easy to use and demould. Now, you might think it's a little odd that I'm working off the side of the camera here. And look, I agree with you. Yes, it is. However, if you watched 2 videos back, when I first used this mould and this technique, inspired by one of Julie's videos on the Pouring Your Heart Out channel, I made a fatal error, or a grave error. Let's not be too dramatic. A grave error. I moved the mould while the pieces were cured and just before I applied the paper. And what happened was that the coasters came away from the edge, so that when I ended up doing the top coat and the border, some did seep down the sides. So I was determined that this was not going to happen this time. So this mould was attached to this desk when I started, and it does not move until I safely demould them. So because of the way I've got my camera set up and the lights and everything, it's just stuck there. So I'm going to be doing all of my work on the left-hand side of the screen. Apologies, but I did not want to risk it. So this final layer of Mod Podge that I'm putting onto the back of the pieces is not only to protect the paper, but also to seal them to the resin. And I'm applying them a little bit of like a modified Targo method, which is where you hold up the sides and place the centre down first in order to decrease your chance of getting bubbles underneath. And just then laying it down, and either with your fingers, if you don't have too much Mod Podge, or with using a piece of paper towel, just smoothing it around. I didn't really get a lot coming out. I'm not applying a massive amount, just a fairly, not a little bit thicker than probably the top coats, but not enough that it's sort of coming out the side. And so that is going to be the last barrier between the resin and the paper, and it is also, as I said, going to adhere the paper down to the resin. And I will go ahead now and let these dry, and I'm going to give them a couple of hours. I really only gave them probably 20 to 30 minutes between coats beforehand, but for the next step I want them very dry. So the gremlins in my memory have done it again. So you're getting to see virtually nothing of the pouring of the clear coat. You're getting to see me using the last few drops to pop into that centre heart. But I am again using River Art epoxy resin, a 2:1 ratio, and it is just crystal clear. I've added the most tiny little amount of silver holographic glitter just to get that little bit of a sparkle in there. And then I sat and watched it like a hawk for about 10 minutes, because the paper, even though it's glued down, there's still the chance that there might have been little edges and bubbles can come out. And in fact, over that 10 minutes, a few did. So I got rid of them very quickly. They were super tiny, and in fact, I think there were only 3 or 4. They are the only bubbles I think I have ever had from River Art resin. So there you go. And look how pretty they are. They're so shiny, so glossy. and loving that image. So I was going to put a rim around them of possibly gold and put a cork base on them. But now I've seen them, no way. They're staying just as they are. I love them. And bonus, I had the most wonderful conversation with Fred from River Art Resin, and he has told me that this resin is tested by him to temperatures of, between 50 and 60 degrees Celsius. So it is very safe to use once fully cured with your hot drinks. So bonus all around. I'm very excited. I think I'm so excited I forgot to take the little heart out, but don't worry, I'll get to it. So as always, this mould is just so easy to demould with, and that little heart's super cute. I'll have to do something really special with that one. So there we go. These are my 4 Tasmanian autumn coasters featuring our beautiful Fagus. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this and enjoyed watching the whole process. Thank you so much for watching. If this is the first time visiting my channel, perhaps coming here via the link for the autumn collaboration, a very warm welcome. I hope you consider subscribing. You'd be a very warm welcome into the Glossy Bee family. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed. Feel free to share. But most of all, check out my wonderful fellow collaborators from all around the world in their amazing entries in this autumn collaboration. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.